and that what matters is that we're not alone. When I became disabled in 1982, I felt alone. There was no ADA. I don't think I'd even heard of the Rehab Act. There was no organization at Harvard of law students with disabilities. There was no organization like this, of course, a national group of law students with disabilities. And I had to figure out everything, it seemed, on my own. And going to interviews with corporate law firms in a wheelchair, you know, the look on the interviewers' faces when you rolled in that door was, it's something that sticks with you for the rest of your life. It's like, oh my God, what do I have to do now? How do I get this person out of here as quickly as possible? What can I say that won't get me in trouble? And so many lawyers back then dealt with rejection after rejection. Paul Miller sadly passed this last year. A lawyer who many of you know. He's a person of short stature, and he went to Harvard Law School. He went on dozens and dozens of job interviews and didn't get a single job offer out of that. And a story he often told is he asked one of these interviewers when it was clear he was not getting a job, what's the problem here? I'm coming out of Harvard. I mean, every one of my classmates is getting dozens of offers, and I'm not getting anything anywhere. What's the problem? And one person told him the truth. He said, well, if we hired you, our clients would think we're running a circus. Yeah. This was the 1980s. And I think one thing we know is that we can change the physical world. We can put in curb ramps, and we can get technology that helps us be as productive and effective as people without disabilities. But attitudes, biases and stereotypes, those are really hard to change. I don't watch daytime TV. And I don't watch the $1 Million Movie, but I remember those movies. It was the poor, pitiable, disabled person, crippled for life, the little kid that the March of Dimes could save if you would donate, Jerry's Kids. Our world was and remains really grounded in assumptions about who we are, what we can and can't do. Changing those attitudes is going to be the big struggle. Some of you are going to try to go for jobs in business law firms. I went that route, and to a certain extent, I guess I'm a little bit of Mark Wellman myself. I put in the 60-hour weeks, even though it wasn't good for me. And I went the partnership track, even though it was brutal. And it remains a very harsh, brutal journey. And very few people with significant disabilities are making it in that world. I can count on maybe one hand the number of partners who were people with disabilities when they joined a corporate law firm and made it to partner. The only time you really see people with disabilities in the partnership ranks of major corporate firms is older folks who are becoming disabled as they become seniors. And what struck me, interestingly, was I read recently of a major corporate firm that has a policy that when partners reach 65, they need to leave. Yeah, Silicon Valley firm. a national law firm. Why would they do that? I have to say, I'm wondering if it's even legal. Because, you know, the seniors don't often think of themselves as part of our community, but they are, whether they like it or not. And there's many, many people in their 60s, 70s who can remain fully productive, particularly with new technology. You start to lose your sight, you learn to use one of these screen reader programs. You learn you're losing your hearing. There's now captioning technology that will allow you to stay as productive as you want for as long as you want. But they don't, you know, those firms that still allow those people to stay on. And the courts allow judges to stay on as long as they like. So there's actually some judges now who do get it. And understand what disability is about. But those people who identify as part of our community, opening the doors to corporate law firms is really the battle still to be waged and won. We haven't made any real progress on that. Now, we shouldn't feel bad because on employment, the ADA hasn't helped us at all in any field. The statistics on employment of people with disabilities are as bad as they've ever been. And the only explanation for that is the social biases and stereotypes. People making hiring decisions, they often have the same implicit bias, and people making partnership decisions have those biases. We have to fight that. I don't know how we're going to win that battle. I look forward to working with people here and outside this room on that battle, because in our society, for better or worse, having a job is what lets people feel like they have self-worth. And if we can't make progress there, we're not going to win the long campaign to make this a truly open and just society. I'm kind of running out of time, so I want to close with two thoughts. One, I'm optimistic. Organizations like this really mark a new day. When people are not only admitting their disability, but proud of their disability and coming together and organizing and supporting each other like this, this really represents a dramatic new day. All too often, disability has been the forgotten stepchild when it comes to diversity trainings and hiring goals, and people think, well, yeah, disability, maybe that's a minority group, but it's not really like being prejudiced against blacks or gays or women. You know, they really are different, those disabled people. Well, coming together the way you have, and every year getting more networking and support, that makes me optimistic. All of the doors that have fallen away have opened up over the years. Role models like Paul Miller, who went on to become an EEOC commissioner and drafted regulations that enforce employment rights for people with disabilities throughout America. Now, I think that's justice. When somebody who's turned away because he's considered a circus freak ends up being coddled by businesses wanting the regulations to glean their way. So there's some justice even in his own life. But the final thought is Martin Luther King. He wrote in his letter from Birmingham jail that no man is free until all are free. And I think we all understand that. And when society understands that, then we'll have achieved a more just and communitarian world, one where whatever life offers you, you can be part and contributing to life and all for all. Thank you.
Well, again from us, thank you so much for your help with this. And thank you everybody for coming. This was a really great day. It's so great to see so many people here. If you turn to page 19,